so so it's just not gonna happen. Well, anyways, let me alt tab here. Let's see here.
Yeah. We were
Questions.
actually gonna try to find a replay where Undead wins against Orc, but 3 hours later we realized it's no point.
Yeah, so we gave up. So we gave some undead players map pack, and so maybe they had a chance. That should be the thing, though. If you pick Blade Master, your opponent should automatically get to see the whole map.
Yeah, it would be only be fair, man.
Oh, for sure. You know, I mean, he can see the whole map. Might as well you be able to see it too. Level 4 Farsight, baby.
Yep.
Well, anyways, let's see here. Let's go with the first question. This one's by Friendly Far, and he wants to know what you bind each group to, like your control groups. Like, do you have number 1 is your hero and melee, number 2 ranged, 3 siege, and so on? What typically do you do?
Basically, for control group 1, I have all my heroes in this group, along with melee units or fiends. If I'm going fiends only, I don't have any melee units, then I have the fiends in this group. So what I do is I tab between all my 3 heroes and use the skills. I've also used custom keys, so I both coil and nova on the C button, which is kind of funny maybe. And then on the second group I used maybe like gargoyles or ranged units, as you say. And then on control group 3 I often have my statues in them. Then 3/4 I have my crypt and altar, and then when I get a slaughterhouse I often change my control group 4 to the slaughterhouse. Then 5 is graveyard and 9 is my main base. So that's how I control group.
So I guess if you're playing Orc, you just bind all your control groups to your Blade Master and 1 to the altar?
If I play Orc, I have all my buttons binded only to the Blade Master. Then I just select everything else and just attack move it.
Oh, exactly. So you probably just bind everything to the Blade Master, half your keyboard is attack, and the rest of it is move, and you just rub your face across their keyboard?
Yeah, exactly. That's how I normally play Orc.
Or maybe you get a couple strippers over and they just bounce their ass on the keyboard?
Whatever works, man.
Hey, that's pretty
Whatever
good.
I can get my hands on.
Hell yeah. Sometimes, I'll just bind all my keys to my Blade Master, and I'll grab the keyboard like Guitar Hero, and I'll just play it like that.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, no, back to serious questions, though. Was there a specific reason why you chose that as your key bindings? I mean, is that typically common knowledge between other people who are pro? I mean, I know you got to rub elbows with people who are not as skilled with you in 4K, but but
Nice one.
is that common knowledge there?
It's very individual. I mean, most people use the F keys to select their heroes. I do not. I have them all in control group 1, and then I use the tab button. I think that's kind of unusual, I guess. But you often play the way that you started out playing. So if you start out with a certain control groups, and then maybe you go pro, then you probably will still have the same keys.
Oh yeah, totally understandable there. Yeah, I think that a lot of things will change over time. Let's see here. Let's go to the second question here. I can almost answer this one. This one's from Mingo Dynasty, and he says, how can we improve our skills without massing 100 games a day or watching over 9,000 replays? And I guess that's like, how do I get skinny without working out and eating less, I guess.
Wow, that's a perfect analogy, man. Yeah, it takes hard work to become really good. You have to watch replays. You have to lose games and then figure out why you lost, because you really don't learn much about your gameplay if you win a game. It's often the losses that give you the most information about what you're doing wrong and what you have to improve.
I find that to be very true on other situations as well. When I was fighting a lot in MMA, sometimes I would learn the most when I lost a match. I'd lose a match and I'd look back on that and watch the videotape and go, oh geez, I guess I keep dropping my hand when I jab, and then after that I go sleep with the other guy's girlfriend to get even.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the way. you can be smart about your training. You shouldn't play 100 games and lose 98 of them and then don't know why you're losing. That's just wasting your time. Because you have to be smart when you're practicing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to ask better people than yourself, or just watch other replays and then figure out for yourself what you're doing wrong.
Yeah, I can see why that would be very important. Did it ever become a time for you, like when doing a lot of professional gaming and it was your career, did you ever find a point where Warcraft 3 wasn't really so much a game anymore as it was work? I mean, did you ever find a point where you were just kind of tired of playing the game a little bit, but you were doing it because it was your job?
Yeah, man. I know exactly the time when that happened. It was like 2 or 3 months into not getting paid anymore from 4K. Then everything just went really boring and I stopped practicing, stuff like that. My real life was really affected by not getting paid, actually. Because, yeah, it's no surprise that Todd and Grubby earn more than us, than me and Zeus, for example. So, naturally, not getting paid in a month would affect our personal life more, because we didn't have as much money stashed up.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty soon you have to say, okay, well, what am I supposed to do now? You know, you have to continue your education or start to find another job, because after a while, when your career is not paying, it's just like any other job. You have to move on to something else, I'm sure.
Yeah. And we weren't making that much outside, like winning tournaments and stuff like that. So the basic salary from 4K was everything I lived on at that point of time. So it was kind of vital to get it in time.
Was that part of why you decided to stop professional gaming, or were there other reasons? Or
yeah, the downfall of 4K was because of economical reasons, and then after 4K it wasn't as fun anymore and there wasn't any money in it. So I soon realized that I had to do something else.
Was like, you know, when you were back in 4K and everything was good, would you say that was probably like the best time you ever had playing professionally?
Yeah, for sure, man. There's nothing like it. I'm so happy I got to experience it. So wonderful people in the team, and the team spirit we had, and the experiences. It was just so great.
Yeah, I'm sure that they'll always remember you and you'll never be forgotten. That's for damn sure. But and definitely in the community, one thing I've always noticed is that, you know, you've always been there to answer questions and relate to the public. You never were one of those gamers who thought that, you know, they were so awesome that they were above talking to people. And that's one thing I kind of noticed about all the people in 4K, but you specifically.
Yeah, it's both good and bad, because like Madfrog, what he did was he very rarely got interviewed, he very rarely showed any appearance on any site. And that was also the part, I think, of him getting the legend status, because he would separate himself from everything else, from the community. So they would kind of see him as a god, while I were often in the community, and I often talked shit and flamed a little bit on forums and stuff like that. Then it's easier to, flame me back and stuff like that also. I'm not saying I was as good as Madfrog, because he won a very huge tournament and was reigning for a year or so.
Yeah, I remember meeting Madfrog. He always looked like he was off to a strip club pretty soon. You know? He's like, yeah, you know.
Yeah, he was hard to get close